Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. There's an old saying in gardening that goes, all gardeners know better than other gardeners. While this sort of advice is quaint, it doesn't help when you've got a bug chomping on your tomato plants. Since the early 90s, gardeners in Vermont have been able to rely on the UVM Extension Master Gardener Helpline to help answer home gardening questions, quandaries, and conundrums. The helpline is staffed by UVM Extension Master Gardeners who provide science-based research for Vermont's unique growing conditions. The helpline is open for gardening and growing seasons. To talk about the gardening and the helpline, we're inviting the State Outreach and Education Program Manager of UVM Extension Community Horticulture Programs, Deb Haliba, and Vermont Master Gardener Helpline Volunteer, Susan Stan. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
We're happy to have you. And Deb, let's actually start with you.
Sure.
This helpline is open now to call, so when can people reach out?
Yeah, it sure is. The helpline is a free service, and it's open by UVM Extension Master Gardener Program, open to all Vermonters across the state. Our phone service, as you said, just opened this month in April, and it will run through to the end of October. And so folks can call in on Thursday mornings from 9 to noon. And our number should be on the screen, but it's 656-5421.
Absolutely, and if you maybe aren't around during those hours, is there a different way you can reach out?
Of course, yeah. So we have a very popular online service, so folks can just pop onto our website, go.uvm.edu/garden-helpline, and they can pop in their questions there, and it's a great way to get your question answered if you're not by the phones on Thursday mornings.
And is that year-round, or is that just during the April to October timeline as well?
Yeah, that's all year-round. So we are getting questions from January all throughout the year. We even got one on Christmas Day. So we're here to help you whenever is convenient for you. And what's great about the online service is that you can upload photos of your plants or an insect that you might want to have identified.
Yeah, that's great. And is that something that you recommend doing if you have a question to reach out online?
Oh, definitely. I think if you can take a very clear photo of your, your ill plant, and especially if it's with a common object like a pen or a quarter, so you can get so we can get a sense of scale or the size of what the problem is. That's a great way to help us identify the problem.
Sure. And how soon will somebody usually hear back?
Yeah, we have a policy about 3 days. We have 100% response rate. So if you're not hearing from us within, 3 to 5 days, be sure to check your, if you're using the online system, be sure to check your spam folder because sometimes they get stuck there, but we will definitely get back to you.
Yeah, great tip.
Yeah.
And Susan, let's talk a little bit about your gardening for you as a hobby. How do you garden usually?
Oh, I have a vegetable garden, a raised bed at our community garden, and I have flowers around the house. I'm interested in tree pruning and giving advice on proper pruning care, mulching care of trees.
That's great. And how did you become a UVM Master Gardener?
Well, years ago I was involved in a garden group in Williston, and some of the members were master gardeners, and they kind of talked me into taking the course, and it was a great idea.
And what's the typical kind of question you get?
Depends on the time of season. Early on we might be getting problems with hardening off of plant. People didn't harden off the plants, so they put them out in the garden. They're new tomato plants and they have sun scald or something and things like that. Then later on it might be tomato blight or tomato hornworms, and as mildew on phlox or lilacs.
Sure. How about some of the more challenging questions you get?
Well, last year we had a problem in August where people were sending pictures in of their lilac bushes that looked dead, and it was lilac leaf spot or fungal leaf blight, I'm sorry. So the leaves were drying out, turning brown, falling off the trees, and people were panicking. And it was mostly around Addison, Chittenden, Franklin, and Grand Isle counties. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this was because of all the rain we had. And it became so much of a problem that our plant pathologist, Ann Hazelrig, put out a press release to try to tell people about this, but we were getting calls all the time. And basically, the problem was the wet weather. Luckily, we were able to tell them their plant will probably be okay. Just clean up the leaves, don't let them overwinter, give the plant air circulation, and you shouldn't have the problem next year.
That's
Hopefully.
great. Yeah, hopefully. Well, time will tell, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. And are there any questions that you guys won't answer, Deb?
Yeah, there are a few. Well, first of all, the helpline is just geared to Vermonters, but luckily folks have questions outside the state. There are helplines at other Master Gardeners in our surrounding states, so they could go there. We don't answer cannabis questions. That's a UVM policy. But for other things that we don't typically answer, like food safety, we don't tend to get into anything to do with human health. There are professionals out there to do that. So what we'll do in those cases is provide referrals to the organizations that are best suited to answer those questions.
Absolutely, and this is also only for home gardeners, is that right? This isn't for professional?
Right, correct. So, yes, so the helpline is just for home gardeners. So commercial growers can contact their extension agricultural specialists. We have folks that work with commercial vegetable, tree fruit, and small fruit growers, so they should contact them for help. And then they could also contact their agronomist if they have pasture or hay questions. If a commercial grower has a question about a pest or especially a disease, they can contact our plant diagnostic lab. Those are the best folks. We have plant pathologists that are I'm happy to help them with those issues.
Absolutely, so there are tons of resources if you need them, but it just might not be folks for commercial.
Correct, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we had mentioned a lot of outdoor plants, but you guys help with indoor plants too, is that right?
Yeah, we answer about 1,000 questions a year. That's what we're planning for this season. So sure, it really runs the gamut in terms of what folks are looking for, they have questions on. So houseplants, usually in the winter months, there's a lot of houseplant questions. What's this, insect on my pothos or whatever.
And how do I get rid of it, presumably?
Exactly. And then, as Sue was saying, sort of right now we're getting questions on starting the garden, what to expect, how to do seed starts, and then as the season progresses, it's just what's popping up in the garden and in the landscape too. We get lawn questions, tree questions, so we're here to answer them all.
Really, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
And you folks don't do home visits, is that right?
Correct. We have about 400 master gardeners across the state, but unfortunately we can't conduct home visits, but we are able to offer workshops in local communities and, of course, the helpline to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well.
Send in a photo, too, if all else fails. Then you can get a good look at it yourself.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And Susan, how long have you been a master gardener?
I took the course in 2003.
And have you been doing it all the time since?
Oh, yes, yes.
Nice, that's great. And
Several projects besides the helpline. I only started that about this is my 4th year on the helpline.
nice. And why did you want to volunteer with the helpline?
Oh, because I thought it was always a great way a learning experience.
And before you
was-
were a master gardener, had you ever reached out to the helpline?
No, but to the people like Deb or the people that, we didn't have an online helpline back then. It was the phone-in helpline, which was one of the reasons why when I was working, I couldn't get out in the morning, to run that. But there's always a lot of information that's available when you're a master gardener. You can reach out to anyone.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Deb, registration is actually closed for the 2025 Master Gardener course, but when does it open up again for the next one?
Right, so we do train our volunteers through the 16-week Extension Master Gardener course. So that runs from January to May each year. So we're right in the thick of it right now. We will be accepting registrations for the 2026 course starting in November for the following January.
Sure.
So, and if folks are interested, they should just give us a call or send us an email, and we can put them on our notification list, so they'll be sure to get that registration note.
Absolutely. And if you're not in the Burlington area, is this a remote program, or do you have to be here?
Yeah, it's online. We used to offer a Master Gardener program when Sue took it through
Vermont Interactive TV.
Yeah, interactive TV. But now we do it online, so anybody can take it anytime during those months in any location. And in fact, our helpline, Sue just mentioned that we used to just be a phone service, and COVID came and interrupted business as normal. So that's when we sort of shifted to, by necessity, to an online system. But we found that having the online system really is expanding our accessibility to Vermonters who might have gardening questions. So it's been, it's one of those little bits of the rainbow that happened as a result of COVID.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's worked out really well. And we've also had our volunteers used to be just in the Burlington area, but we now have helpline volunteers all across the state.
That's great. And you'd mentioned this is all for Vermont specifically, this helpline, but if you're a master gardener in another state, does it transfer to Vermont if you come here?
Yeah, sure. If you're a certified master gardener in another state and you choose to move to Vermont, which we would love to have you, we do have a process to transfer you into the state to become a UVM Extension Master Gardener.
All right, we're almost out of time, but I just want to follow up. You mentioned volunteering. Can you tell me a little bit about what that includes beyond the helpline?
Sure. We are considered community educators, so there's a number of activities that our master gardeners do out in the communities, giving workshops, staffing info tables at libraries, and then we have some demonstration gardens across the state so you can actually see and touch and smell and maybe taste gardening in action with someone as special as Sue to help you along the way.
Absolutely. And what distinguishes a UVM Extension Master Gardener?
Yeah, well, besides getting the extra training, I think that Extension Master Gardeners are very passionate about gardening, love to share what they've learned with others, and I think that's what makes them so special. And they're just fun to be around.
Absolutely. Sue, do you feel the same way?
Oh, yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And the resources we have are amazing, especially with the Ask Extension, which is nationwide, actually. We just get assigned, if somebody from Vermont writes in a question, it gets assigned to Vermont, but this is nationwide. And also we have a search extension site that we use, which is only gives information, scientifically proven information from different universities.
Yeah, that's great. So if you're getting advice, you're getting the best of it.
You're getting, yes, researched advice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you'd like to access the UVM Garden Extension helpline, it's open now. You can call or submit your questions at the number on your screen or the address on your screen as well. And that takes care of our show for today. My thanks to the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX who have the greenest thumbs going. I'm Jolie Whitney. This is Across the Fence. Have a good one.